Hey, it's Justin Brown here from Primal Video. 360 cameras have come an incredibly long way in such a short period of time. You can now get an awesome 360 or VR camera for under $200. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Insta360 Nano and the Samsung Gear 360, and I'm going to share my thoughts on each. Alright, so with the two cameras that we're going to look at, the Insta360 Nano and the Samsung Gear 360, there are quite a lot of similarities between the two. The first is that they both sell for under $200 US. They also both have around a 2-hour battery life. They're both designed to work specifically with either an iPhone for the Insta360 Nano or one of the latest Samsung devices for the Samsung Gear 360. Now, while they're designed to work with those smartphones, you can actually use both of these 360 cameras standalone, so without the need for the phone. But you won't get all the features and all the full control that you'll get if you are using them with the recommended device. When they are paired up with the recommended smartphone, they're both really easy to use. It's so easy to jump on, take a photo or take a 360 video and share it to places like Facebook and to YouTube within a few button presses. So they're both really easy to use once you've got the apps up and running. And both of these 360 cameras have a micro SD card slot so that your footage is recorded to a micro SD card. So those are the key elements that both the cameras have in common. I've actually done a video on each of the cameras, both filmed in 360 on YouTube, and I'll link them both in the cards and in the description so you can check out a full 360 video created with each of the cameras. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on my top 5 things that you need to know about both the Insta360 Nano and the Samsung Gear 360. We're going to start off with the Samsung Gear 360. So the first thing that you need to know is that both of these cameras run hot. They do heat up after a short period of use. The Samsung Gear 360 though heats up quite a lot more, to the point where it actually switches off and stops working. When I was actually recording the 360 Samsung video, the camera switched off 2 or 3 times just through recording that one video. So it's definitely not ideal if you're going to be filming out in warm temperature days or out in direct sunlight. And the other thing I also found with the Samsung Gear 360 is that it fogged up on more than one occasion. So it was when I was filming with the camera and I had one lens facing me and the other was facing, I think it was pretty much direct sunlight, which isn't ideal, but it's a 360 camera, so you've got to expect these things. But the second camera, the camera that's facing the sun, fogged up, and I had no way of knowing until when I got back to edit the footage that the footage was really unusable because one of the camera lenses had fogged up. So definitely not ideal, and it's definitely something I think that anyone should be aware of if they're looking to purchase that camera. Number 2, I really like that you can connect and control everything with the camera through your smartphone wirelessly. It connects through Bluetooth, so it means you can get some distance away from the 360 camera so that you're not always in shot and that you don't always have to physically touch the camera to start and stop the recording. Also means you can monitor it from a distance, which is really awesome. The Insta360 Nano doesn't let you do that because it's physically clipped to the bottom of your iPhone. So that's a really great feature, and it's something that I found really handy when moving out of your 360 shots to start and stop and still monitor what was going on. Number 3, the stitching on the Samsung Gear 360 is good, but it's definitely not the best. If you've got a lot of light on one camera and not on the other one, then the stitching line between the two, there's not a lot of blur between them or a lot of fading between the two to really merge them well. The Insta360 Nano does a much better job at stitching the two camera lenses together than the Samsung Gear 360. So if there's a big difference in brightness between one camera and the other one, then the transition line or the join line between the two can be pretty prominent and really obvious on the Samsung Gear 360. Number 4, now I've already mentioned that you need to have one of the latest Samsung phones or Samsung devices to be able to use this device at its maximum. So to get remote control over everything and to really get access to all the features. But probably the biggest thing that your phone or the device does is the stitching. The camera doesn't do any stitching internally, which means that you've got to do it on either your latest Samsung device or a Windows computer. There's currently no software on Mac that's provided by Samsung anyway that will allow you to do the stitching or join the two cameras into one file. So I think that's really important to know, that you need to have one of the latest Samsung devices to be able to create a video that you can use somewhere, or you need to be on Windows and do the stitching on the computer. And number 5, in my opinion, the Samsung Gear 360 has the best picture quality of any 360 camera around the $200 price point. It's a 4K camera, the video looks really crisp and really sharp, and the stills look awesome as well. So do the time lapses. And when you compare the Samsung Gear 360 side by side to the Insta360 Nano, which is a 3K camera, you can definitely notice the picture quality is much sharper and clearer on the Samsung. All right, so now onto my 5 thoughts or 5 things you need to know about the Insta360 Nano. Number 1 is that this camera has inbuilt stitching. So what this means is you're not relying on the stitching happening afterwards on either your phone or your computer like you are with the Samsung Gear 360. It's actually done in the camera itself, which means that you can do things like go live in 360 to places like Facebook or YouTube live directly from the camera. So that's pretty awesome. Number 2, one thing that you really need to be aware of when you're using the Insta360 Nano is that there's no easy way to place it down somewhere. It doesn't have a flat bottom. It doesn't have any way of placing it down where it's not going to be resting on one of the 2 lenses. It does come with a soft pouch, so you really need to make sure that you're carrying that pouch with you everywhere, because if you take it off your phone and you want to place it down, there's no way to place it down without it sitting on one of the 2 lenses, which then it's highly likely that the lenses can get scratched or destroyed. Number 3, the way that the Insta360 camera connects to your phone is through the lightning port. The lightning port's on the bottom of the phone, which means that the camera's got to be plugged into the bottom, which means that to use your phone and the camera, you've got to use your phone upside down. So while that takes a little bit of getting used to and usability and everything is fine, you need to be aware that if you're going to mount your phone on a tripod, which is highly likely for any 360 video, a lot of the standard phone mounts don't hold the phone properly if it's in upside down. So it's definitely something that makes the whole process of mounting it to a tripod and in a phone holder slightly more difficult. Number 4 is that the Insta360 Nano doesn't record videos in standard video file formats. It actually records in its own file format, which means if you take the micro SD card out and plug it into your computer, you'll have to use the Insta360 software, which is a free download, to convert the video files into a standard QuickTime file or movie file that you can then edit in your video editing software. So even when we were creating our Insta360 video, we took the micro SD card out of the camera, plugged it into the computer. We had to convert all of our video files across using the Insta360 software to convert about 25 minutes of video footage, 360 video footage, into normal video to be edited. It took around an hour and a half to convert that amount of footage. So it does take a while to convert the footage, especially if you've got a lot of it. And number 5, the Insta360 Nano is insanely quick to get up and running. You literally just plug it into your phone, it automatically opens the app, and then you can quickly choose if you want to do video or photo. So it's much quicker and much more seamless process to turn on without having to wait for Bluetooth and all the other things that you've got to do with the Samsung Gear 360. The Insta360 Nano is a much faster camera to quickly turn on and get recording or take photos. So those are my 5 thoughts or 5 things you need to know about the Insta360 Nano and the Samsung Gear 360. Now really, if I had to pick one to go out and do some 360 shooting now, I'd probably be torn between the 2 because I really like the picture quality on the Samsung, but I really like the ease of use and having the ability to go live with the Insta360 Nano. So they are actually 2 different product offerings, and obviously if you've got an iPhone, makes the choice a bit easier to go the Insta360 Nano versus the Samsung 360 camera that has to be used with a Samsung device. If you found this video helpful, make sure you click that big subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. And linked on screen now are our 360 videos for both the Samsung Gear 360 and the Insta360 Nano. I'll see you next time.